So we're basically on step 8D, which I don't have outlined here, but we're going to do the outline stitch for the water under the sailboat, video 12. So in this session, we're just going to pick up where we left off. You stitched two linear lines for the outline stitch on the hull of the sailboat. And we're going to mark and stitch this. The important thing with this is I want to talk about how to form these points at the top of this wave. So since I already talked about marking with this one, I went ahead and marked this one in interest of time. But I do want to show you, if Joanna delivered in Carroll County your kits, I remember to put this in. But if I mailed it, I did not remember, so I'll put those out in the mail to you, so you'll be sure to get them. But this is just a paper cardstock template. I gave you the whole thing. Sometimes I prefer to look at it like this, so that I know my spacing is correct with the bottom of the boat hull or whatever I happen to be tracing. And then sometimes I'm okay looking at it like this. So it just kind of, it's a personal preference thing, maybe something that you hang on to or something that you're done with as soon as you use the kit. But I will often use a paper tracing guide for something when I want to position it. My freehand drawing is not good, so that's why I use templates like that. This is really the same outline stitch that you've learned here on the hull of the boat, but I want to pay attention to the points up here. So you'll come in from the back to the front and form those same stitches. Again, you're making a stitch that really wants to be straight, go round or half round, so keep your stitches tiny. So I need to stitch up to that point really quick. Remember that very first stitch, you go all the way back to where you came out, but each successive stitch is just in front and then back to the completed stitch. And just put that on repeat till we get up to that point. If you've marked the line, hopefully you've marked it just dark enough to be seen. And you're gonna just cover it up when you stitch it so you don't have to worry about it. Come up a little closer to the camera. Again, I'm keeping pretty tiny stitches on purpose because I want them to line up well and I want them to curve when I want them to curve. Otherwise, there'll be too many straight edges in our waves. Now, when I get up to the top, I take just a microscopically tiny stitch, maybe 1 or 2 thread fibers right there. And I got a little knot. Sometimes that happens, just kind of back off on it a little bit. And then I'm gonna just, I don't want to say turn, but I'm gonna, from that point, I'm just gonna head back down on my line. And that's that. So I believe if you've stitched everything as we've gone along, you have it all stitched. So let's review that a little bit. But that gives you an idea of what the point looks like. Just get real tiny with your stitches up here, and then you can put them back out to the normal length. Okay, so we started out by putting the fusible down, pressing it, and then doing the stitches. My recommendation is that you did all the blanket stitching first, and then we did a blanket stitch wheel, and then we did a back stitch, a couching stitch, a starburst stitch, and then those outline stitches. And this is pretty much going to be yours. It will be complete if you've stitched all that. In our remaining videos will be how to finish it. How do we put a backing on it? How do we stabilize it? How do we stabilize the edge? And that's where we're going next.